So there was a period where I finished more music than ever. Not because I was better, not because I had more time, but because I was using this, the Maschine Mark III from Native Instruments. So when I look back at my music, there is one period that really stands out. And the more I have thought about it, the more I have realized that it wasn't just inspiration. It was the workflow. It was the machine. During that time, the Maschine Mark III felt almost overwhelming in the best way possible. Everything I needed was right there, and nothing got in the way of actually finishing a song. So this video is a bit of a tribute to the machine, and I will explain why it was and still is so brilliant. Because to this day, nothing has helped me finish music quite like Maschine. So when I got the machine back in like 2021, I think it was, I was blown away by it. I couldn't stop making music on it. Because, as you know, this is just a controller for your computer. It's not the Maschine Plus. It's the controller version, and you hook it up to the machine software. But this was like the first experience with a controller that I didn't need to look on the computer at all. And I also got access to all the wonderful plugins in the Native Instruments collection, and also the Arturia stuff. When you get the Maschine Mark III, you get a huge library with tons of sounds, loops, effects, everything. And then if you have some nice VSTs, you can use them in here. In some cases you can even browse through those presets in the machine and get a preview with some workarounds. So when I got this, that was like the time where you had a bunch of grooveboxes, and then this came, and I was completely hooked to this, stopped using everything else. And when looking back to this period, I've noticed I did a lot of really good music back then. If I compare that to now, I'm not finishing like any songs nowadays. Back then it was like 3 a week. And that's because it was so easy to just build up your track in the machine. And it still is, of course. So let's just have a look at it. Here we have a basic groove with just an intro, pre-verse, verse and chorus. So these are my scenes, so I can jump between them like this. Yeah, so this is a starting point for a song, and when I want to arrange this to a basic like song structure, it's very simple. Okay, so now we have our blank song here. And we can start to add our scenes or sections. So let's just start by clicking create, and then you select your scene here, and then we can press create again. Select your scene, create again, and select verse, create again, and select chorus. And now I can actually switch these parts here by pressing here, so they're represented here. And let's say this chorus, I want it to be longer than the actual pattern, so let's set it to 8 bars. Like that. Very simple. And then maybe we want something after that, so let's go back to like the intro in this case. This is just some basic, so you get a hang of how easy it is to create a basic arrangement in this machine. Of all the grooveboxes I've tried, it's not a very common feature to have an easy way to create arrangement. Actually, the OPXY has a very nice laid out as well. Not exactly like this, but similar. Yeah, and so now you can just start here, and it will start from the intro, of course. And then we have the pre-verse with the bass. So now we will have some melody and some drums. And now is the chorus. Yeah, you get the point. So, as you can see, it's very easy to just pick your scene and set the length of it and so on. So I think that this method made it possible for me to finish more songs, because I'm often in this stage. Let's say I have this, and then I can copy that scene. On the other scene I add something else. So I often have like two scenes with like bridge, chorus, verse, and then I can make intro, pre-verse, outro, everything. And in here it's very easy to just, if you want a new scene, just press here, you have a new scene, and you just select here. So the ones that is light up is the one that so you just select the patterns that you want to play in that scene. Very simple. And I think it's a wonderful workflow to just get a basic arrangement. In here, if you want like transitions and stuff, you can do that with clips. So you create clips and you can make things that just appear in the transitions. It's doable. It's maybe not the most intuitive way. I've not been using clips that much. I prefer this. And when I feel like the basic arrangement is done, I will often fix those like transitional stuff later. That's not the most important part for me. The important part for me is that my creations is not stuck in a 8-bar loop. And of course, in Maschine, the like DAW, it's not a real DAW per se, but kind of. You can, of course, add some effects to your master channel. So I have some SSL bus compressor here with some nice glue compression and the limiter. So you have access to many things here, like limiters, EQs, filters. So it's not just native instrument stuff. Soothe too, I can add here. I don't think this will work. Let's listen. It actually did work. That's really nice. I removed that in the computer. So you're not limited to the native instrument stuff. When I use this frequently, plugin instruments like the Playbox was released from Native Instruments. Wonderful sounding. Yeah, as you can hear, wonderful. So nowadays I have collected so much gear, so this is not used, as I almost never use it. I did a test a couple of months ago where I connected this and just sat down and started jamming, and I could literally close my eyes and just jam on without any hiccups. It's that intuitive for me. Another thing that I really like is if we go to events. Events is where your sequence data is. Let's say I just want to lower the velocity of a note here. I can just start scrolling here and it will jump through the notes. I think this is brilliant. So let's say I want to increase the velocity here. I can just go in here and do it. Very easy. And of course I can move notes. So if I want to move it like this, up and down, and jump between them in a very nice way, I think. And you have your basic stuff that is the most needed, like length of the note, so I can change that here. The pitch, of course, that you can do also with the jog wheel here. And the position, of course. So in this case, I actually prefer this way, to just start scrolling instead of having to, like a touchscreen, to zoom in and select note. That's not the best way, I think. And when we talk about notes, of course, all your scales, chord modes, so you have a lot of scales to choose from here. That's always good to have when you're not into music theory. So that's a really nice help. As I said, this controller actually made me feel that everything is in here. I almost forgot that I was connected to a computer, which is the best thing ever. I really miss this machine. I always get back to that when I think back. It's pure nostalgia. Oh, this grain delay, I love it. Every time you had a melody of something, let's just, I think we could just bypass. This grain delay adds some really... Love it. So I always use this grain delay. I think it sounds so good. For a basic built-in Native Instrument delay, it's awesome. Yeah, so as I've said, it's a tribute to the Maschine with this layout, with all your sounds here. And if you want to continue to add, you can just change the bank. So now you have 8 new to just add more sounds. It feels like it was designed for me. You basically have everything you need here to make music. And also all these shortcuts you have here to quantize 50%, undo, redo, change octaves, and copy paste. Everything is right here in front of you. Let's just talk about the future of the Maschine. Because you obviously have this, the Maschine Mark III, and you have the Maschine Plus. The Maschine Plus. So I have been waiting for an updated hardware to that machine for a long time now. But it actually doesn't feel like it's coming. I don't know what Native Instrument are doing over there, because all of a sudden they released plugins for the MPC, the biggest rival. You have this brilliant machine. Why don't you just update the Maschine Plus with some really nice CPU and RAM? You can basically keep the same layout because it's brilliant. I don't agree with Bolo, the producer. He always says that the machine needs a touchscreen. I don't agree with that. I think a touchscreen can be really messy. Like in the MPC Live 3, for example, I prefer to use the buttons over the touchscreen all day. So I really don't think that's necessary. And also, like support for not full VST, I don't think that's possible. But like every Native Instrument plugin, Contact and all these stuff, that would be awesome if they can implement that to a package like this. I will buy it instantly, and I think a lot of people will, depending on the price, of course. Personally, I have not used Maschine Plus. I've always heard that it struggles with performance, so I think maybe it's not really... I will be disappointed because I'm used to the sounds I get from all my plugins. So if Native Instrument is listening to this, I don't think they are, but I'm begging them to release an updated Maschine Plus. Like I said, there doesn't need to be that many exclusive new cool features. That's not needed when you have a brilliant product. I'm really surprised that they haven't done this already. I mean, what are they doing over there? They're just releasing keyboards and software for rival companies. Come on. Even bringing this out, I thought I need to make a video about this, because this is the device I always come back to when I think about the dream device. because it's so natural. It's so fluid, the workflow of it. I would love to hear from you guys. Do you experience this with the machine? I mean, I think there is a lot of people that experience this with the machine, because I know there is a demand for an updated machine. If I compare this workflow to the MPC, I think the machine is superior. Not in every way, of course. There is some things that the MPC does better. I think the way that Akai is approaching their MPC, it's the way Native Instruments should have done it years ago. Instead of giving the MPC your plugins. Why? I don't know. Something is wrong over there. But I really hope this will be updated. But just bringing this out, preparing for this video, I was like, I need to start using this again. Just remove everything else from your desk and start doing stuff on this. Let's summarize. Yeah, fantastic machine. Now you know why I praise this machine so much. And let's just hope that Native Instrument is working on something over there. And that we will have a new updated Maschine Plus in 2026. Yeah, so that's all I had. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.